Guys, welcome back. So I can't wait to show you guys what I did today at my house. So I was like really bored and I wanted to do something really fun and creative, and I used my imagination. So guess what I made? I made a fort. So I made a fort using some chairs and some pillows and a blanket. In my fort, I've been playing puzzles, I've been reading books, I've been drawing, I've been playing with Legos, and even some games. So it's been really fun, and yeah. So you can do a lot of things with the fort, and so actually what inspired me to build a fort in the first place is because of a book called The Little Red Fort. So this book is about a little girl named Ruby, and she's laughing in the front cover. She is kind of like me. She was bored and she decided to build a fort. But instead of building a fort inside like I did, she got even more creative and built a fort all by herself outside. So I really like this book, and I think you guys will too. So in this book, we're going to learn about, the beginning, middle, and end of the book. So in the beginning, we're going to learn about Ruby and how she decides to build a fort in the first place and why she wants to build a fort. Then we'll learn kind of about the middle of the book, where we're going to learn about her process of building the fort and what happens with that. If any other characters come in, and remember we talked about characters, they're people in the story. So Ruby is our main character. Anyways, and then in the end of the book, we'll learn about if she completes the fort or not, and what it looks like, and what happens when she completes it. So like I said, we're going to learn about the beginning, middle, and end of this book. Okay, ready? Okay. So this is called The Little Red Fort, and the author is Brenda Mayer, and pictures by Sonia Sanchez. Ruby's mind was always full of ideas. So she's sitting in the bathroom and she's thinking about some ideas. One day she found some old boards. "Who wants to help me build something?" she asked her brothers. Oscar Lee pretended not to hear her. Rodrigo gave her a look that could melt popsicles. Jose almost fell off the fence. "You don't know how to build anything," they said. Ruby shrugged. "Then I'll learn." You see Ruby's face? She kind of looks upset, doesn't she? And she did. "Who wants to help me draw the plans?" Ruby asked. The boys clutched their sides and howled with laughter. "Not me," said Oscar Lee. "I don't think so," said Rodrigo. "No way," said Jose. "I'm too busy." "Fine," said Ruby. "I'll draw them myself." So Ruby's having to do things all by herself then, huh? She'd have to build all this fort by herself. And she did. Satisfied with her plans, Ruby asked, "Who wants to help me gather the supplies?" "Not me," said Oscar Lee. "I don't think so," said Rodrigo. "No way," said Jose. "I'm too busy." "Fine," said Ruby. "I'll gather them myself." And she did. When all the supplies were gathered, Ruby asked, "Who wants to help me cut the boards?" "Not me," said Oscar Lee. "I don't think so," said Rodrigo. "No way," said Jose. "I'm too busy." "Fine," said Ruby. "I'll cut them myself." How do you think she's feeling right now? She's having to do all of this by herself, and her brothers won't help her, huh? And she did. Oh, but her mother and dad are helping her, I've noticed too, huh? When all the boards were neatly cut, Ruby sang, "Who wants to help me hammer in the nails?" "Not me," said Oscar Lee. "I don't think so," said Rodrigo. "No way," said Jose. "I'm too busy." "Oh, fine," said Ruby. "I'll hammer them myself." And she did. Oh, so her fort is coming along. I wonder what it's going to look like. Soon, Ruby's creation was complete. "Who wants to play in my fort?" she called. Me, said Oscar. "Let's go," said Rodrigo. "I'll play," said Jose. "I'm not busy anymore." "Not so fast," Ruby said. "You didn't help me draw the plans, or gather the supplies, or cut the boards, or hammer the nails. You said I didn't know how to build. And you laughed at me. I'm going to play in the fort by myself." Oh, so I wonder if her brother's going to feel upset too. And she did. "We didn't want to play with you anyways," the boys said. But they did. So they huddled and whispered and got straight to work. Oscar Lee made a mailbox, Rodrigo planted flowers, and Jose painted the fort fire engine red. Ruby was delighted. Delighted means that she was like happy. That evening, the boys followed a delicious aroma to a fort warming party. "Who wants to help me clean this plate?" Ruby asked. "We do," said the boys. And they did. The end. Oh, look at all these forts that you can make. So it says there's a sofa fort, kitchen chair fort, a bunk bed fort, or even a snow fort. Cool. Okay, so now that we've read this book, I want to go over and summarize the beginning, middle, and end of these. And how I want to do that is by writing each of them down. I like to, after I read a book, I like to write down what I've learned, so it helps me understand the book a little better if I break it apart. And so we're going to break up apart the beginning, middle, and end. So I'm going to get a red marker, and I'm going to write, hopefully you guys can see it this way, I'm going to write beginning. So we're going to talk about the beginning. So what I saw in the book, remember in the beginning we learn about the character, what the character is doing, the setting, and remember setting is like the place that's in the story, and then we also learn about the problem, or kind of the main idea of the story. So I'm going to write, so Ruby was in the beginning, she was drawing her plans in the bathroom, right? So I'm going to say Ruby was drawing her plans in the bathroom, and then she got started. So I'm going to say, and then she started to build. Okay, so that's the beginning. So I'm going to set that aside right now. And then we're going to talk about the middle of the book. So right here, I'm going to write middle, and then underline that. Sorry, my handwriting is really bad. All right, so in the middle of the book, so this is when Ruby is starting to build, but then she asks her brothers, and her brothers don't want to help her, which is kind of sad. So I'm going to write Ruby is building her fort, but her brothers don't want to help. So Ruby is building her fort, but her brothers don't want to help. I'm sorry, that's S. Okay. So she's building the fort, and her brothers don't want to help her. And then she's getting really close to being done with her fort. And bam, she's done with it. And guess what? Her brothers want to help, or they want to play with her. And Ruby says, no, because you guys didn't want to help me, and you didn't want to join, so I'm not going to let you play with me. So I'm going to write, Ruby is done with the fort and doesn't let her brothers join. But then her brothers decide, well, if we want to play, then we need to take part and help out Ruby in some way. So they started to paint the fort and making it red and building a mailbox. So then I'm going to say her brothers decide to help out Ruby, and Ruby lets them join. So at the end, her brothers do help her, and Ruby decides, well, you know what? I'll give them a chance, and everyone makes mistakes, but I'll let them come join, and then they had a little cookie party. So, like I said, I enjoy writing down what I learned. So this was our beginning, then our middle, and our end. Okay, so now that we've done that, I just want to suggest an activity that you guys can do. Obviously, a fort, and we learned about Ruby, and Ruby was so nice enough, or the author was so nice enough, that they even gave a suggestions, or 4 different suggestions that you guys can do as well. So at your house, you guys, or in any room, you guys can make a fort. And then if you even want to get more creative, like Ruby did, you guys can even build a fort outside. I'd also really encourage you guys, if you do build a fort, kind of have like activities that you guys can do together as a family. So you can play Legos, you guys can play games together, reading books, drawing, playing music. Literally, there's so many things that you guys can do in a fort, and just have fun with it and just use your imagination. So thank you, and I hope you guys enjoyed this book.